Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Trebled Folks, episode 2. We're going to talk about a bunch of shit on here, but before that, once again, I am Sid.
And I am Kit Carson.
Last episode, we kind of just focused on who we are and what the show was basically going to be. So that wasn't a very good jumping in point for the show, unless you're just interested in that for whatever reason. This episode, we're wanting to talk about three main topics. That is, what is music on a personal and then larger scale? A music review for a very groovy band called Aren't We Amphibians? And then talk about songwriting a bit. What makes music music? Now, on a large enough scale, the real answer to that is whatever sounds good. And I think on an even larger scale, what is music is just anything that sounds. If it sounds like anything, it's music. If it's fucking rain, it's music. If it's the sound of the hustle and bustle of city life, it's music to some degree. And we can try to give things names like rhythms, melodies, harmonies, and likewise. But the building blocks of music should not be seen as necessities, yet as functioning names for methods and concepts of expression. Certain things may lack, certain things may operate at a surplus of these elements. You might have something like, for instance, take Meshuggah, something that doesn't have a lot of melody to it, doesn't have a lot of harmony, it's just very rhythmically engaging. And then you might have something like, I don't know, it's still going on Prague, you might have something like Dream Theater that has a lot of melody, but not as much crazy rhythmic stuff going on, but it's still music. And so I think if you chase that rabbit hole far enough, you end up on, the sound of rain is music. The sound of a chainsaw is music. A car starting up is music to some degree. Not just because you could be a car head, you could be a motorhead that's like, yeah, you rev that engine, baby. But because, shit, if it sounds like something, then in some way it's music. And I think the most unique music that we hear already bases itself off of the music that we've already heard. What defines unique is it is somehow set apart from what we are used to listening to. Therefore, it may be in the best interest of the practicing musician to think outside the box, or whatever the hell that means. Yeah, I know what that means, but whatever the hell you want to.
Whatever it means to you.
Whatever it means to you, yeah. Unless, of course, extreme uniqueness may be abstract. We've all heard like noise music and stuff, and while that is still music, it's pretty damn abstract. Abstract does not seem to be a good way to get a lot of listeners, and especially not a good way to get somebody's heart involved. But abstract combined with the familiar, working in tandem with each other, might be the key to crafting a unique vessel for you and your audience alike. Now, Sid, you may be saying, nobody listens to your music. How can you speak on what an audience is engaged to or what they might engage to? And for that, you have a very good point. Well, dear hypothetical listener, these observations kind of just come from being a super fan of music. This is stuff that you learn just listening to music. You don't have to be some grand musician to figure these things out. You just kind of have to be a fan of it. It's like watching sports and noticing intricacies about the game that are never really spoken aloud.
I think that is an extremely beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
You've thought about that answer a lot, I can tell. My answer is a little less optimistic. To me, if everything around us is music, then that also means everyone is a musician. And I hate that thought a little bit. Like you said, the hustle and bustle of people walking in the city or what the fuck ever, I'm not going to call those people musicians, but by that abstract definition, I feel like they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So for me, I feel like it's kind of up to the individual to decide what their clear-cut boundaries are for music. Like when I hear noise music, for example, noise is a pretty well-accepted genre. It's out there, obviously, but it's accepted. Like, if I say noise music, you know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And when I hear stuff like that, don't get me wrong, I think it's cool, but I'm not going to call those people musicians necessarily, because that's kind of where my boundary, I have to draw a line at some point. I feel like if you don't draw a line, then it goes on forever. You know what I mean? Then like you said, everything sounds like music. The rain, the fucking seashore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything can sound like music. The beeping of your computer. And I would go nuts if everything around me sounded like music all the time. If you know what I mean,
man,
I would literally
you
go
chase
nuts.
that rabbit hole far enough, and there's no difference between Stairway to Heaven and your washing machine.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I'd be, sitting there trying to pick out polyrhythms on the rain on a tin roof. You know what I mean?
Trying to go to sleep, and
oh my god, this rain is really rhythmically inclined.
Man, that's the kind of believing that makes you fucking believe in God, man. If you're like, oh my god, this music all around me, where's it coming from?
Yeah, and that's why I think it's just up to the individual to set their own boundaries. Because I think, like you were saying, you could go and go and go and go with what sounds like music, what is music, and that's why I don't try to define it. I think you can set your own personal boundaries for what you want to listen to and what you consider musical, without casting aside everything else that you mentioned, without just saying, no, that's wrong. Because I don't think that you're wrong at all. I'm not going to think like that because it's going to make my head fucking explode.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
well, it'll sound really pretty.
Well, maybe. It depends. Depends on what I ate that day.
Now, and I think that applies a lot on a very personal scale, is you'd probably be hard-pressed to find a group of people that are all going to sit around and listen to Rain and be like, yeah, this is kind of fucking bops.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you would be surprised.
I've met some Rain listeners in my life. Interesting people, though.
Yeah, I mean, you might do that yourself. I mean, for one, I don't do that. I like the sound of Rain, but I'm not going to be like, dude, this is like a symphony. The definition of what is music changes a lot and perhaps becomes more narrow the more people you invite into your listening experience. Like, you go to a concert, music is kind of a way to rally for or against something. And it doesn't have to be against something political or something philosophical. It can just be like, fuck yeah, I love this song. I love this band. They can be driven by an approach that others can lyrically or thematically empathize with.
Right.
It's like, man, okay, for me, pop music, really, there's not a lot of differences I can pick out between a lot of pop music. I mean, maybe voices and stuff, but as far as the actual musicianship, it's pretty damn similar to me. You know what, like the one song I think of when I think of pop music that I actually really liked? Fucking Because I'm Happy Clap Along If You know what I'm talking about?
Bro, that's a mind control, bro. They got you. Pharrell Williams.
Fucking got me. Pharrell got me, dude. That's not a diss of pop music. It's really not. I think a lot of great things don't thrive in differentiation. So, for lack of a better way to put it, I think music is whatever you make it. And even better than whatever you want to make it. As I think that is truly what music is. And by doing that and by really giving yourself to that, if you are a musician, you can really inspire yourself creatively and you can really inspire others. If you're a fan of music, then more power to you, because whatever you're a fan of, keep listening to that.
And you get the fun job too. I feel like being a fan, a professional fan, is the best job to have.
That's the best job to have, a professional music listener. Yeah. A professional like album reviewer, that'd be crazy, man.
Melon.
You'd be that person writing for like metal songs and something.
Yeah. Fantano.
I've never watched any of his shit. Is he good?
I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole right now. That's
another
that's an episode for another day.
You got anything more you want to add on to that, man, about music?
No, like I said, to recap, just setting your own boundaries for what the fuck you think music is what it's about. And that's fine. You know what I mean? If you don't, because it's so funny. I mean, it goes back, when rock music was getting big and people were like, oh, that's not even fucking music. You know what I mean?
It's just noise.
It's just noise. I feel like that's always going to exist. There's always going to be a genre that pushes the limits. There's always going to be an idea of what music is that pushes the limits to some people. And, whether we like it or not, everyone has their own personal limits. And I think we should all be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like for me, I draw the line at, modern baseball. What the fuck is that shit? You know what I mean? Like, that's not music. That's just noise. We all got to have our own lines, and
man, that's actually a really great point you bring up. So at one point in time, rock music and then metal was just, oh, that's not music, that's just noise, it takes no talent. What do you think now we're really taking for granted musically? I mean, of course we could say that about noise. Of course you can say that about like static music.
Mm-hmm.
You could be like, oh, that's just noise. But maybe in the future. But I mean, I don't know, man. Where do you hear the boundaries of music being pushed at?
There's plenty of examples, right? Like I feel like specifically, you know, the majority of our listeners are probably going to be DIY related. So in the DIY scene, like there's always gonna be an emo band that has the worst fucking vocalist ever and the worst production ever, but people will still find a way to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Well,
'Cause
that's a
just,
beautiful thing.
you know, it's just kind of what the scene does. And I feel like there's always going to be a band that's so fucking dog shit, but everybody loves and I love, and that's okay.
We
You know
talking
what I
about
mean?
a specific band?
No,
there?
there's not really a specific band. There just always has been a couple of bands in the scene at any point in time that just completely suck.
You saying like everybody, even the fans, are like, yeah, they kind of suck, but we
Yeah,
still
yeah,
love
no,
them.
I'm saying like everyone knows, like, yeah, this is trash, but like, you know, we're gonna listen to it and
Yeah.
we're gonna, you know, go crazy at your shows and we're gonna hype you up on Twitter. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, I feel
Yeah.
like that's DIY's kind of way of boundary pushing. Now, of course, there's bands that are boundary pushing. I more so meant to say pushing, like we were talking about the
Pushing
actual-
daisies.
pushing daisies, pushing the actual definition of what music is. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's as crazy as DIY gets, but my actual answer, I guess, would be bands like Car Bomb and Frontier right now.
Yeah.
Bands that really make you view rhythm entirely in a different light, like what's possible. Like at one point in
Exactly,
time, I
man,
never
yeah.
would have thought what Car Bomb does is possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's opened up a whole new world for me, and I think those bands have got their sound. They're doing what they're doing. But I think that they're gonna open up an entire world that we currently can't even perceive. Before
And that
long.
not so much it's gonna be Car Bomb that pushes us into that new frontier of music as it is
right.
the bands
I
who follow Car
I
Bomb.
would. Yes, exactly. I would agree with that. Kind of like, you know, when you hear people who really love Periphery or gent bands, they
Mhm.
don't always immediately say, "I love Meshuggah." You know, someone who likes Invent Animate is not gonna always say like, "Oh yeah, but you know, Meshuggah's really the OG." Like, it's gotten so far that sometimes you don't know where the origin is. You know what I mean?
You don't know who first opened that portal.
Yeah, right. And Meshuggah, when people were listening to Meshuggah, they never probably could have conceived all the music that was going to come from that. In hardcore, in literally every subgenre of metal, you know, Meshuggah has forever changed the way modern day metal music.
They're like fucking
exists.
Metallica, dude. In
Right,
the
no,
sense that they did that,
100%.
yeah.
They
I
literally,
mean, they're not like Metallica.
They're
but
basically like you know, yeah, obviously they don't sound the same, but in my opinion, just as big of an impact in some regards. Obviously, I can't say they have the same impact because Metallica's fucking Metallica. And I think, I really think bands like Car Bomb and Frontier and just that kind of style, you know, rhythmically all over the place, tempo changes, mid fucking riff, shit like that. I think that is what is going to project, at least metal, in a direction that I can't currently comprehend. Because I can barely comprehend what I fucking, you know, hear now when I listen to that shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm already like, fuck, what is going on?
It's fucking confusing, man.
So imagine what the next really talented generation of musicians who are inspired by Car Bomb are going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't.
I can't fucking wait.
Yeah,
honestly.
I can't wait. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
But that's probably my best answer because everyone else is just fucking doing what the fuck ever. You know what I mean?
That's a great answer. That's honestly really close to what I was gonna say. But I just want to say, man, I can't wait to be that old guy that's like, that's not music. I don't get it.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's a crown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It'll happen to all of us.
Yeah, we're all
eventually.
get there, hopefully.
Yeah. I think some
lucky.
people our age are already at that point where they're like, no, that's not fucking music. I, for one, find that psychedelic rock and metal in the vein of Hawkwind is the most genre boundary pushing music to exist. Now, I'm not talking about psychedelic rock like Grateful Dead. I don't really consider that very psychedelic. I'm saying if you're not familiar with Hawkwind, check out maybe the albums Electric TP, Space Bandits, or The Machine Stops, and get in a good mindset for it if you follow and just see where it takes you, because it's literally it's more than music almost. It's an audio visual emotional symphony all at once, and that's something I've heard very few bands do. I've heard Cardiacs do that, and I've heard Hawkwind do that. I've heard Devin Townsend do that, but as far as other bands, I don't see that happening. And I mean, these are like Hawkwind's been a band since 69, 70 maybe.
That's crazy.
And they haven't really pushed out a lot of bands who are capable of doing exactly what they do with sound. I think that's just crazy, man. I think the future of music really is landscapes built with sound, textures built with sound. That's a really big part of music for me. That's something I always try and capture in my music is with each riff, okay, what does this look like? How can I make this look like something? I guess. Does that make sense?
To me,
Do you
I
see
don't
shit
have any
when-
experience in that field, so I can't say. I look at music more as like a math problem sometimes, like
Mhm.
whenever I go to write and things. For me, it's a little more straightforward. You know what I mean? But I think like again, like we were talking about earlier, everyone has their own boundaries, and I think that also kind of reflects if you're a music writer how you write and how you look at music. You know, kind of
Definitely.
based off where your boundaries are set. Like my boundaries are different than yours. You know what I mean? So, um, I personally don't have experience, but you're not the first person I've heard explain what you're explaining. You know, seeing texture, seeing patterns, having a visual sensation
Yeah.
whenever you hear that sound. You
Mhm.
know, which I think is very. I mean, I wish I thought like that, but I think people's brains are just different. You know.
Yeah, it's cool, man. But it's not one of those things where you listen to AC/DC and you see like it's like a bar full of like dudes like hanging out and like throwing beers and shit. It's more like you listen
Yeah.
to something with like carefully crafted production, layers. Layers are very important, and it's like a portal opens up in your mind. It's fucking awesome. It's honestly, yeah, that's where I see the future of music going. I think it's about time that music takes on something more than just audio.
Mhm.
I guess like internally, it's time that interacts with you internally. It's like, I mean, you see like a Van Gogh painting, and it's you're not just looking at it. I mean, maybe you are looking at it, but at the same time, maybe it does stuff inside of you. Maybe these certain colors are you're really drawn to it for some reason, not just because it looks pretty, but because it feels nice to look at. Or maybe you see a picture of wind chimes and you can hear the wind chimes. You can be like, okay, this is what they would sound like.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just different senses playing with each other, letting your ears take in this information and letting your mind and your other senses build off of it, build an entire fucking reality off
Right.
of it. It's a really awesome thing. But that's a whole fucking rabbit hole there. I don't really want to.
We'd have to do some research, come
Yeah.
together with some fucking essays, and then
We
have a
come
discussion
together, get
about that.
some peer reviewed
Peer
shit.
reviews.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a good talk. You know, I feel like it's great to hear how you think about music in the ways that you do. You know, where
Yeah,
your
you
boundaries
too,
are set and
man.
all that.
Yeah.
And it's a good reminder too that like not everyone sees music the same way.
It's fucking quantum.
Because I think I just kind of assume that everyone sees it like I do. And I kind of have to step back and remind myself that like everyone has a different relationship. So
Yeah, one of my favorite things is getting a feel for what music is to somebody and what it like for you, as you said. I don't want to quote you wrong, but it's like a math problem.
Mhm.
Or it's like this math exercise going on. I think that's really cool. And now, like, if I listen to some of your music with that going on, it's I can better connect with it. Not that I couldn't previously. I'm not saying I couldn't connect with your shit, but now that I know that you think of it like math, I'm saying
no, it makes sense.
now that I understand how you listen to music, I can better understand how you create music and what you express with that.
Mm.
I think that's a really beautiful thing. That's what I try to do whenever somebody tells me a musician is like, this is what music is to me. I want to go back and listen to their music and be like, okay, now that I know this, what can I do with that?
Right. It paints a whole different picture.
A whole different picture. Yeah. I've had musicians I've found and not really cared for until I've read an interview where they're talking about music, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, okay,
It
yeah,
clicks.
it changes their music. It's awesome. Yeah, you want to get into the music review?
Yes.
I think this band contacted you about this, right?
Yep. I just posted on Twitter and was like, hey, we'd like to do this, and it's one of the bands that hit us up. So I know the record label they're on. They seem like pretty cool chaps. I haven't listened to anything yet. I listened to like 10 seconds of a song to see if it was like complete dog shit or not, and it wasn't complete dog shit. So I was like, all right, yeah.
That's all we'll say for now.
So I'm excited to have a first honest reaction to all this.
Yeah, definitely. So me, on the other hand, as soon as I got that, I went directly into making a playlist and just started listening to it. I listened to it in my free time, really sink into it. I'd be at work and just put it on, because you got to listen to it under different things. Like, some people are going to listen to it driving to and from work.
Right.
Some people
right.
are going to listen sitting on the couch with a beer, just chillaxing and listening to it.
Fuck, I hope so. I hope there's people listening to Guitar Fight chilling on the couch with the
Yeah,
beer cracked open.
chilling with their
That's how I like to picture the fans.
like $50,000 music setup and shit with like surround sound and everything, sitting there with their pipe and stuff, like their
in the back of a limo.
Pipe. Like the champagne.
Leaving a Chris Brown party, Yo, put on some gunk funk.
Yeah, so we've got 3 songs that we're going to check out. And, we thought about playing the songs on the show, but at this point, I don't want to risk any sort of repercussions in the future or in the present or, time travel, even in the past, maybe. We're just going to tell you where to find the music and then tell you what songs we're listening to. Then we're going to pause it, listen to it, come back. You're going to get some of my notes I've taken on it, which aren't super extensive. And then you're going to get Kit's fresh perspective on it. And so this is Aren't We Amphibians? I had them pulled up just a second ago. Yeah, their Spotify description is ballroom emo coming from San Diego, California. I don't know what ballroom emo is. Is that like a subgenre?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that because I don't have a good answer.
Oh yeah, we'll glaze over that. We'll just say it might be.
It might. I've seen the term thrown around on Twitter a few times, but I don't really listen to what the kids are saying anymore, because everyone's got like 10 different genres. I've seen ballroom emo, fucking sparkle twinkle punk, I don't know, fifth wave. I've heard some bands call themselves sixth wave already. So like,
really?
I don't even know what the fuck's going on anymore.
Man, that seems kind of like something you can't call yourself sixth wave. The fans have to call you sixth wave. Other people have to call you sixth wave.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm not my business.
Yeah.
What I am gonna say is that we're gonna listen to these fucking songs, and then we're gonna guess what ballroom emo means. We're gonna say we're gonna figure it out.
Fantastic idea.
Listen to the songs, and we're gonna give our best honest guess at what it is. And then, Aren't We Amphibians? I want you to tell me whether or not we nailed it, or if we failed it.
Please tell us we nailed it.
Fuck, we're gonna find out.
So we've got 3 songs. We've got Mother Nature, Hospital Cafe, and Read the Room. And I believe these were sent, or at least the band directly told you, check out these songs.
Yep, these were specifically the singles that they were like, fuck yeah, like, I guess some of their best work, some of the shit they're the most proud of. So
Yeah, okay, that's good. Or at least whatever.
So when I shit on it,
it's gonna hurt.
No, I'm kidding. But.
All right, yeah, so we're going to dive into Mother Nature. We'll pause it and then come right back. See you all in a couple seconds in your time. All right, so we just listened to Mother Nature by Aren't We Amphibians. And can I just say, what a really great song structure there. Really great. The way everything was shaped around, the way it moved, I really enjoyed that. I thought that it was really fantastic. Speaking as a guitar player, I don't want to sound like I'm just complimenting the guitar player because I don't play drums or anything, but that guitar player is very obviously knows their way around their instrument, and that's really good. It's a very emotional song, definitely, especially for me in the second half, which I liked a lot. That was really almost hauntingly beautiful, I thought.
I would agree. I think from a more specific perspective, vocals are cool. Huge snowing vibes. Like, you might not have listened to Snowing. Definitely listen to them. Literally the pretty much exact same style, which I actually really enjoy. So mad cred to the singer, which I'm guessing is probably the guitar player or bass player as well. So compliments on your chops.
Meanwhile, the drummer / singer is like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fucking asshole. Like, God.
Does everybody think it's the guitar player singing?
God. You complimented the song structure. I like the song structure. My favorite section, I think, was kind of the little instrumental breakdown about 3/4 of the way through the song, where guitar did their thing, drums did their thing. I think that was fun. I also liked after the those short stops close to the end of the song. I'm a sucker for like nice breakdowns after that. So whenever they went to the, straight, basically forward of the floor kind of breakdown at the end,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. I think that was a great way to end the song. I think if I were to have any criticisms after a first listen, it would only be that I think listeners in any genre of music, and actually was having a discussion with Carson of the Callous Cowboys recently about this because we were talking about songwriting. People like to move in different ways. And when Carson said that to me, I was like, oh shit, like I thought about that a lot. And that is now going to be kind of my advice for any song that I hear. People like to move in different ways. Change it up a little bit. If you feel like you're kind of, in that slow tempo jam and groove a little bit, change that rhythm up. Give it a more of a, start on the and or something like that. You know what I mean? Just give it a little more funk here and there.
Out of
if that makes any sense.
the critiques that I had, which it's not a critique, it's not a diss, is I think the music would really benefit from occasionally having a lot more tense rhythmic moments in it, or just some choppy rhythmic moments, which we kind of did hear a little bit of, as you said, about 3/4 in or 2/3. I can't remember exactly which fraction you used, but you were right, whichever one you used. Yeah, that's not a diss at all. That's just something that I think the band could do really good with. But we don't know if that's ballroom emo, man. It might have to not have that.
Fucking ballroom emo? Yeah, are we making them change from ballroom emo to fucking hall
like
emo?
Hall emo?
Fuck,
bathroom emo?
Bathroom emo? God damn. Bed pop cum sock emo.
So, it's almost, I don't want to use the wrong terminology or anything. Every song, which I'm kind of speaking in the future a little bit here, has a very beautiful flow to it. And almost, I don't know if I'm using the wrong term, seems like a ballad. And maybe that's where ballroom emo comes from. Is everything's,
that now you're making some sense. You're not making dollars yet, but you're making sense.
Now this could be completely incorrect. And this is, once again, not into the detriment of the music at all. It's just something I personally think I might have picked up on from it. But yeah, I thought that was a really...
So what you're saying is more of like a down-tempo, like groovy...
Yeah, less in your face, I think, maybe.
Right, okay.
Less in your face. Not that it isn't in your face, just slightly less.
It's in your face just enough. Like, it's in your periphery.
Yeah, it's standing pretty close.
Fuck, I've been listening to way too much periphery, goddammit. I don't know what words are anymore. But yeah, no, I actually agree with all that. And yeah, again, like I was saying, I guess my only criticism in quotations is just the rhythm. Drummer, if you're listening to this, fucking think outside the box. And I drum for guitar fights, so it's like obviously I'm coming from that perspective. But in my opinion, when it comes to emo, you hear a lot of the same shit. You're gonna have an open chorded guitar, you're gonna have some really pretty chords, you're gonna have, big sections like in that song. You're gonna have your twang. Where you can really stand out is rhythm. It's all in the rhythm in emo, in my opinion, because there's lots of bands that you're gonna throw their guitar in an open tuning and fucking twang around. But if you can throw your guitar and twang around good, like this band clearly can, and you can also be so conscious of ways to just shake that rhythm up a little bit, give it a little more fucking jam, give it a little more fucking punch, give it a little more drive in certain sections, throwing some ghost notes, whatever the fuck it is you have to do to separate yourself, it'll go a long fucking way.
It really will. Yeah.
And that's just my opinion, and like I said, I'm extremely biased. I'm not gonna say that this is factual. This is just my bias, what I would say, what I would do if I were in the band. Is that's what I would be doing, is I'd be fucking changing up rhythm in small parts. It'd be subtle but slick. And that and the drummer's obviously clearly very talented. There's no doubt about that. So
they all are.
I think it's all very possible. That's just the one thing that I'd maybe look more into. Based off of one song, though, they might prove me wrong these next two, so we'll find out.
Lyrically, I think it's really great. I love the "So asleep I shall stay." It's cool. It's a really pretty line.
Yeah.
It's like at the end of all of this, at the end of this turmoil of, do you remember me how I remember you? It's just, fuck it, I'm going to sleep.
Classic, good line.
Good line.
Good
very
emo
relatable.
Lyrics. Not
very
the worst
relatable.
emo lyrics. Better than talking about fucking, I don't know. Whatever the fuck.
You didn't return my call last night.
Yeah, fucking.
But I saw you on Snapchat.
You were active 20 minutes ago. Where did you go?
I'm so alone.
Oh my fucking god. Fuck you, Dad. No, the better than that though. Better than that though.
Yeah, no, really, really good lyrics. Definitely relatable. I like it a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to Hospital Cafe, and we'll see you all in once again a few seconds in your time. All right, so we just listened to Hospital Cafe, and I just want to say that okay, so out of the singles that we've listened to, of course, I love them all. I think they're really great. Spoiler alert, I think they're all really great. This one might be my favorite personally. The inclusion of horns, and I'm gonna sound like a complete jackass saying this because I don't know. I think it was a trumpet.
Trumpet,
I'm like,
French horn. I think it's one of those two. Probably.
I think it's a trumpet, and I feel bad because I played trumpet since 6th grade, and I'm only like I think that was a trumpet, but I think that's works in context of the song quite nicely. Really interesting, really great way to mix things up a bit, and I think that's just fucking dope, man. We really hear the singer do a kind of, for lack of a better term, a roar almost towards the end with like a rah. Not, I mean, he doesn't do that, but just kind of that vocal type of thing. Do the roar. It adds a lot of emotional value and depth to the music, in my opinion. It really just adds a lot of this emotion to it. You can really almost feel the emotion coming off the voice there. And I wish the lyrics were on Spotify, at least on my Spotify. I don't know if they're. I don't know. I get a thing to see about the band when I go to click on lyrics.
Yeah, that's what I get
too. The lyrics are on there.
That's what I get too.
I would love to see them. You might be able to Google them, which I did not, if you can't tell. But yeah, so that more aggressive style of vocal adds a lot of value to the music, in my opinion, especially with how sparingly it's used. It's not just like straightforward the entire song. It's really only at the ending. Very tasteful. Very tasteful.
Yeah, so I really like that one. Short and sweet. That's my first note. Short and sweet. The intro immediately reminded me of Dry Jacket. Listen to Dry Jacket if you haven't, because in my opinion, they're one of the most... I'm not even going to call them underrated because they're actually pretty popular. Well, they are a little underrated, but I don't see people talk about them a lot, and they are probably some of the most technically inclined emo musicians out there. I don't really think they tweet much or like associate with the DIY scene that much, but they're definitely in that vein of music. And as soon as I heard, like I said, the intro of the song, immediately made me think of Dry Jacket. Check them out if you haven't. Both of their albums are fucking fantastic. They've got the horns, they've got the riffs. And I think
they've got horns too?
Yeah, a lot of horns, a lot of songs. And I think that the band, if y'all listen to all their shit, if you haven't already, you definitely might have. You've probably heard EpiPen Pals, because fucking everybody in the emo scene has heard EpiPen Pals. But either way, listen to all that shit. I'm sure you get some inspiration from it. Probably two of my favorite emo albums come from them.
Wow.
Aside from that, let's see what I wrote down. Whammy Bar.
Whammy Bar?
I heard it once, I think. That's cool. Trumpets are cool, obviously. You always love horns. My criticisms for this one, just dynamics. The rhythm still stands, and that'll still stand for no matter what they do. I'm going to say that rhythmatically, that's always something that anybody could work on. But the dynamics, I feel like this song, for example, was short and sweet. I feel like it could have been longer. And I feel like it may have benefited from a really soft section. Which obviously, this is just my opinion. This is, if I was writing the song right now, or if my buddy sent me a demo, this is what I would say, right? So this isn't an actual judgment of the music, but don't be afraid to get real quiet with it, like real fucking quiet. I feel like a lot of times, even in the quiet sections, like in this song, for example, or the quieter sections, they're still not really quiet. You know what I mean? They're still kind of moving. It's still kind of like a static line. And when I listen to a song, I want there to be a huge fucking buildup. Not every song, obviously. Some songs are meant to be like that. Maybe in their eyes, this one was, but I think this song could definitely benefit from more of a, just hills and valleys. You know what I mean?
It's
Up and
all about
down,
those hills and
up
valleys,
and
man.
down. That's all music is. And maybe just in the future, something worth thinking about, worth incorporating. Fucking tap on your guitar a little bit. Do a little fucking funky groove on the drums with your ride and your hi-hat and your snare and play everything really lightly. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Build up your lyrics. Repeat a line and then fucking end up screaming that line by the end of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just anything to add more dynamic value to the music, I think would be a step in the right direction.
Well, I think
But
we
I still love the
definitely
song.
did get a lot of dynamic build with the vocals.
Mm.
Considering at the vocals at the end
Okay.
kind of turned into that roar a little bit.
Then let me say, vocally, I think we're more dynamic, but I think our instrumentation needs to be more dynamic as well. I think if our vocals are doing it, I think everything needs to be, trying to match that same energy, both with the excitement and with the chillness in certain sections. I
Yeah,
guess.
so get one of those little shit ass Metal Zone pedals. Halfway through a measure, without any warning, just click it on and just start shredding. there you go.
I was gonna say, I meant to mention this in the last track, but guitar tone I actually like.
I like the guitar.
I don't
tone
like
too.
a lot of emo guitar tones. Normally, I think they sound like shit.
Do
Because
you
most of the time
think
they do
that's
sound
kind of
like
like
shit.
on purpose sometimes?
If it's not on purpose, then people are just stupid. I'm not sure which one it is. Not to say guitar fights always have the best guitar tone, because we've definitely gone through some weird phases, but yeah, guitar tone is important, believe it or not.
Definitely,
musicians.
guitar
But
tone is very
no,
important.
I think this band's got a good tone. It's like it's deeper than most emo guitar tones. And I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but that's how I feel when I listen
it
to
does
it.
make
It feels
sense
like
to
a
me,
nice,
yeah.
deeper, fuller sound, especially whenever the guitar's like twangy. A lot of times when a guitar is like, probably like a Fender Telecaster, it's twanging, they're in an open tuning, they're, doing hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's so fucking high-pitched and obnoxious. Not the actual notes, just the actual tone of the guitar.
Yeah.
It's just high-pitched and it's fucking ear-piercing. In this case, it was much more like, mid and low centered sound, and I
get that
a lot.
really well-rounded tone.
Yeah,
definitely.
Just way more solid than most emo bands, I would say.
Really great work on that song. Really great song. Like I said, the inclusion of horns is just fucking great. Honestly, I really like. It kind of took me by surprise when I think the first time I listened to it, this playlist, I was going to work, or I was coming back. I don't really remember. And I put it on. I was like, all right, time to start research and start listening to this. And I put it on. As soon as I heard those horns, I was like, wow. I was like, hey.
Definitely a big wow moment right there, I'd say.
I think
wasn't expecting it.
I don't know if you might know more about this than me. I think this is a 3-piece.
Yeah,
band.
It looks like they're a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel bad. We haven't really been like, yeah, man, those bass lines are like really killing it. Like that bass stuff.
I mean, look, bass is bass.
Bass is bass. I think any bass player will be like, yeah, bass is bass, man.
And I'm not a bass player. You'd probably pick things out quicker than I could. But I'm not trying to pick out bass either. I know drums, and I know guitar a little bit, so that's what I'm going to talk about more.
Except for certain really, really specific instances in music, bass isn't something that you immediately pick out and it's like that bass is doing. I mean, unless you've got like Dan Briggs on bass or something.
Yeah.
Which in that case, you're gonna be like, yeah, he's going.
It's a genre thing too. Some genres are gonna be way more. I mean, if you listen to prog, you'll hear a lot more bass. If you listen to funk, you're gonna hear a lot more
you listen to
bass.
funk, man. Ooh.
You know what I mean? It's emo and rock music in general is just normally not very bass-centered music. That doesn't mean it's not equally as important because it wouldn't sound right without it. But
yeah, speaking as the bass player
riffs,
for speaking as the bass player for Fully Cooley, I would like for you to retract your previous statement.
Yeah, well, you and the bass player from Aren't We Amphibians can start a fucking bass players coalition or something.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
We'll start a union, unionizing against our
yeah.
bandmates.
Let's see how that goes.
You want to?
Guitarists are gonna be assassinating bass playing union leaders.
Go down in history books.
Kids
in like
Blair
music,
Mountain, like bass players are riding up the train.
In like 10 years in like music theory, you're gonna learn about the Great Bass Revolt of like 2023.
Yeah. Fuck. No, we're scrubbing that one from history. If it happens, it's getting scrubbed from the books. Rest assured.
Okay, yeah, you want to move on to the third single?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we're about to listen to Read the Room, which is the third and final single that we were tasked to listen to. We'll be back. All right, so that was Read the Room from Army Amphibians, and man, I just not a whole lot to say about this one. I there wasn't really, I mean, no, it was good. It was good. It was definitely good. I'm not saying like this was kind of lame. I'm saying like not a lot of it really stood out to me as something I could really pick into. It doesn't seem to move around as much as the previous two songs we heard.
Yeah, but I will say, I know I was talking about changing the rhythm up and stuff like that, trying to be more dynamic. This one I actually think was a perfect, like, the feel that it was centered in was good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this one, I really
that.
enjoyed the feel. Even though it was kind of the same feel throughout most of the song, this one sounded a lot more like it should be like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The other ones, I could still kind of see like, okay, maybe we could do this or change this up a little bit. This one, on the other hand, like, I liked. You know what I mean? It was kind of a static line, but it was solid all the way through. I really enjoyed the melodies. I enjoyed really everything. It reminded me a lot of some canceled bands.
Some canceled bands?
God, can I even say that on here? I just go through like all the bands that are canceled. I'm just like, yeah, it reminded me like Brand New, Lost Prophets, Jank, Fail
Oh
Better,
God, don't
Faster.
say Lost Prophets. Holy shit.
Front Porch Step. No, it did not sound like all of those bands. But it did remind me a little bit of kind of like a mixture of just like Fail Better, Heal Faster, which is a canceled band, and God, I can't think of the other band, but
so Army Amphibians, you're sounding mighty cancelable right about now, is what kids
look,
saying.
everybody's listened to it. It doesn't matter. If you're mad that I listened to it when I was 17, go fuck yourself. I don't care. It did kind of remind me of it, but in a good way. In a good way. Musically, in a good way. I also really enjoyed the lyrics. I just thought it was solid all the way around.
Solid.
That might be my favorite, actually.
Really?
I think that was my favorite of the three.
Really? So my favorite is probably Hospital Cafe, but it's pretty close with Mother Nature, honestly. They're both really great. This one, I feel bad saying it's my least favorite of the three because that makes it sound like I didn't like it.
Bass player.
But I don't know, man. I like the other ones a lot more. I feel like for me personally, they had a lot more going on that I really liked a lot. I do want to say that this band has a really good idea of hooks and how to use them in music. And we heard that with the horns. We heard that in certain rhythmic things. We heard that in vocals. That was just a really great trip down whatever place this band's coming from.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a solid listen all the way through. Again, my favorite. Just a good sound. Like the way the melodies carried themselves, the way the groove carried itself, just solid all the way through. That one I could see myself bumping when I'm on my way to work, legitimately. You know what I mean? Not just because we're listening for the podcast. Like, I really like that one.
So I got one question for you.
I got one answer, maybe two.
Okay. Would you listen to this band outside of this review?
My answer is possibly, and that's not because I think they're a bad band. My answer, and I'm kind of playing devil's advocate, you hear a little bit, obviously, but for me, it's like, I've been around so much emo and I've listened to so much emo that I don't fucking listen to emo.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when I say I like a band, but I would probably not listen to them, it's not because I think they're bad. It's because I literally spent like 4 years of my life listening to nothing but fucking twinkle riffs. You know what I mean?
Understandable, yeah.
But every now and then I'm definitely in a mood to just kind of throw back and listen to emo and shit. And this is definitely a band I would see myself throwing on if I was in an emo mood. I listen to more metal now. You know what I mean? That's kind of all I listen to is hardcore and shit.
Me too, man. All I listen to is like prog.
Which, if you listen to Guitar Fight, you should be able to tell that, like, yeah, we play emo music.
You should be able to tell.
You should be able to fucking tell.
It got a little bit more metal since another Reuben George to Wooden Cross.
Yeah, I mean,
something happened there.
It was always doomed to be like that.
Yeah.
Listen to our new fucking EP and you'll be like, you're not gonna be like, oh man, this is really modern baseball-y.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So would I? Yes and no. So emo, I like it. It's not for me. It's not my cup of tea personally. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying like, dude, if I'm gonna listen to something, I'm gonna go for something that
That
I'm
shit.
something more batshit
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
crazy. I can recognize with this band that all the music is done with grace and a respect for the music, art, and genre.
Yeah, especially yeah, definitely like they know the genre. They're not disrespecting the genre.
There's
You know what I mean? There's not much
obviously a
disrespect, but
lot
it's
of
like they
passion
definitely
for it.
yeah, they love this kind of music. They're good at playing it
Mhm.
and they should keep doing it. 100%.
So yeah, anything like that where I can literally hear the passion in it, it gets bonus points from me,
Yeah, no,
honestly.
I agree. I agree. Um I mean, the first couple bands that I were in completely fucking sucked, but I loved every second of it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Not this band obviously doesn't suck, but I'm just saying like when you're passionate about it, even if the music's not there yet, it'll always get there. And in
yeah,
this case, I think the music's there, and I think the music's only going to get better. And it seems like they're probably a pretty passionate crew. So like, I have a hard time seeing it going poorly. Yeah, you know
yeah.
what I
Me
mean?
too. Yeah, I think this band, while as great these singles were, has a lot of room that they can really get into with the
How many
music.
releases do they have? Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're totally good. So we have really just an EP because
Okay.
they released a single off of that. Yeah, it's 12 minutes, which is pretty short. I don't know if that's short for emo. I'm
Um,
used to like an album being like 45 minutes to an
our
hour.
first EP off of Mega Murphy is like 20 minutes, and
Yeah.
our album is like sub an hour. Soak is sub an hour. So
Drought is like 10 minutes
10 minutes.
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the nature of emo, though. It's very rare that you see an emo EP or an album that's like really pushing, the time limit of past like 30 minutes or past an hour,
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of just how the genre is. It's meant to, emo's a raw genre, I feel like, and I feel like our emotions are often raw. I don't always, have an emotion and then immediately write an essay about how I feel,
Yeah.
right? It's more of just what I'm feeling in that moment. I feel like emo encapsulates that. It's what you are feeling in that moment. The individual who wrote these songs and wrote those lyrics probably had a specific emotion or a specific event tied around it,
Yeah.
and it's just raw.
Yeah.
And I feel like the raw truth is normally straightforward. It's not, an hour of explanation. It's just, I feel this way, and this sucks, and this sucks, and this is shitty, and fuck you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? At least that's how it is with a guitar fight. I'm sure the singer of Aren't We Amphibians would probably agree that it's just, that raw emotion and just
I think
getting straight
that's
to the
probably
point.
what's most important
Yeah,
is
I
that
agree.
capturing that raw emotion. So to tie up our last loose end with this, what is ballroom emo?
What is ballroom emo?
See, I think from
Fuck.
what we've heard, and this being a ballroom emo band, I think ballroom emo is kind of laid back, flows really nicely, not very jagged. There's not a lot of really jagged edges. Maybe a staple in ballroom emo is you got to have a good guitar tone because we did hear a good guitar tone. I think the entire feel of it. I think if this is what ballroom emo is, then by listening to it, you have a good idea of what it is.
Right. Right.
I think that whatever they've captured on this EP is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Um, I was gonna talk a little bit about, and this is coming from me and my experience in the scene a little bit. We've been here a little while now. I guess it's been like fucking 5 years, which has been a minute. But for the first EP, super solid. Production's pretty good, music's good, passion's there. Got the monthly listeners already. Got the support from a decent label and shit. So like, I think it's Thumbs Up Records. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure, and they're the fucking awesome.
Will it say that on Spotify?
It probably won't. I know it's on Twitter, but I'm pretty sure that's who it is. And yeah,
Okay, yeah,
that's just a great start. Like this band, this crew of people, y'all are just off to a great start.
yeah.
Um,
Really coming out swinging. Honestly,
yeah, coming out swinging. What
I don't know. Fuck, man. These could be the pioneers of ballroom emo. For all
the
I
first
know,
and the
this
only.
could be the first. Yeah, this really could be the first. I don't know, but yeah, production wise, it's fucking great.
Better than
It's
Alpha Omega Murphy's production.
a lot
Our first
better.
EP. Yeah, so solid. I was gonna say that if I and they might hate me off of what I said in this podcast, or you might think that I've given some really good points. Regardless of how the band feels at the moment, I just want to say to y'all that when you go to write and record whatever's next, maybe you've got an album in the works, maybe it's another EP, maybe it's a single. I don't know where y'all are at. A couple pieces of advice that I would give for Guitar Fight. I think the reason we became an emo band that was, well known and liked and all this shit, kind of has a unique sound, is specifically because we didn't try to sound like an emo band.
Mhm.
We were making emo music, but we had a vast amount of influences from all sorts of different genres. And when you're going to write and you're going to record and you're thinking of new ideas, listen to a lot of different music. It doesn't have to be fucking metal like it was for us, but it can be fucking funk for all I give a fuck. But listen to other genres and incorporate as much as you can from as many different places as you can, because I think you have a solid emo sound now. And I think if you incorporate more sounds into that and really make it your own unique thing, that you guys could go really far.
Yeah.
So
So
would be my
what I
biggest
think you're
piece of
saying
advice.
is, on the next Are We Amphibians EP, we want to hear some techno.
I want to
Maybe
hear some techno. I want to hear a flute player.
some Jethro Tull flute. Yeah.
Let's get some Algernon, whatever the fuck, clarinet playing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get some of that. Let's get some maybe xylophone.
Xylophone,
Yeah,
yep.
that's always good. Can't go
Don't
wrong
do
with
anything
that.
stupid. Don't get canceled.
Yeah.
Enough emo bands have been canceled, so just
Yeah.
don't.
God, man, wouldn't that be something? The first band we review.
Yeah, just a week later, stole a school bus and drove it into the ocean. Don't go doing that.
Yeah, don't do that.
But no, I think if y'all play it smart and you really add layers to the sound that you already have,
You got a good thing going.
Yeah, you got a good thing going. I really enjoy listening to it, and I enjoy talking about it. I honestly enjoy talking about it more than I thought I would, because like I said, I didn't really listen to this shit, so I was like, God, if they're just like the worst fucking band I've ever heard, what the fuck am I gonna say, Like,
I've been like kind of worried about
Yeah,
it.
I have been kind of worried. Like, God, what if I just think it's butt cheeks? Like, do I just say that? Hospital Cafe was a fat serving of ass. Really didn't enjoy that one. No, it was all really good. I'm glad it was good.
Would be like after dissing on noise music, it's like all noise music, the whole thing. We're like, yeah, this actually really changed how I feel about noise music. Actually,
Yeah. Now I turn my my Magnavox box TV on at night to help me go to sleep. Really changed my perspective.
It changed my world, man. Yeah. So, Aren't We Amphibians? You guys kind of rock. Keep up with the great work. I hope to see a new release sometime soon.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
maybe not soon. I mean,
Hey,
this
let's rip a
came
show
out
too.
last
Y'all ever
year.
come through the Deep South, Tennessee?
Yeah,
Tennessee.
yeehaw, man!
Aren't we frogs?
Aren't we frogs or
Aren't we
something?
amphibians?
I ain't scared of you no more.
But no, we rip a gig. I don't know if we're gonna make it out on the West Coast anytime soon, because that's fucking far.
That's really fucking far. That's
I don't
a
think
long
people
drive.
realize how far that is. 'Cause we get people all the time like, "Oh, come to Texas. Oh, come to California. Oh, come
Sure,
to
man.
Oregon." You know what? If you're willing to pay for the gas, I'll be there. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But shit is not cheap. So, but yeah, if we don't get out there and y'all come out here, even if we can meet somewhere in the middle, like God, fucking Ohio.
We could meet somewhere in the
rip a
middle,
gig.
like maybe the YMCA or something.
Yeah, we meet the YMCA
Close
on Keith
enough.
Street.
Yeah.
Um,
That'd be nice.
And I was going to mention this, and I hope I'm not overstepping here, but I was going to maybe suggest that if after listening to this, they don't think we're fumbling fucking idiots,
Yeah.
I would love to talk with the members of Aren't We
I would
Amphibians
love
and
to
kind of
talk,
hear,
too, yeah.
like, oh, you were really stupid for saying this about our music, but you were also, like, right about this, and, like, I appreciate this. I just kind of want to know what they have to say about
Definitely, yeah,
our
me
takes,
too.
because let me just say, we're not professionals at all, obviously. We're kind of just
Yeah.
talking out of our asses and doing our best, right? But
Yeah, what we have, and honestly, this is the most special thing to have in this situation, is what we have is a real passion for music.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's shit, man. That's all you need to really speak on
Yep.
it, is just we love music, and yeah, there you go.
Yep, and that's why I would love to talk to them, because I think they feel the same way, clearly based off of what I've heard, So that would be cool. If y'all want to get on, let me know.
Yeah, just let us know. Yeah, please let us know what you thought about this too. You want to talk a little bit about songwriting?
Yeah, I would love to. Let's do it.
All right, fuck yeah. Songwriting is a weird thing, man. It's a lot harder than you would think if you didn't write songs. It's odd, man. For me, honestly, the jumping off point is the hardest to find. Like, where do I begin with a song?
Right.
That's the hardest thing. I mean, it is hard. You've got half a song and you're like, what the fuck do I do with the rest of it? But for me, just starting out with a song is the hardest thing. To get that initial flow going, to get that initial feel, it's just it can be pretty damn tricky.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What do you think the hardest part of songwriting is?
Kind of like I mentioned earlier, I view when I go to songwrite as a math problem, not literal fucking numbers, but it's like, I'm very rhythm's my strong suit. So I'm always thinking rhythm, I'm always thinking beats, I'm always thinking all this shit. Where it gets tricky for me is starting is first of all the hardest thing. Writing a riff that I like is the hardest. When I'm sitting down on my computer, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. That's one of the hardest parts right there. It's just starting. You know.
Just being like, where do I begin? What do I do?
Right. Just getting a groove going. Then from there, it's finishing songs. The hard part is not always, for me, writing a really cool riff or writing a cool section. It's, all right, I've got this, now fucking what?
It's like, how do I utilize it? Could this be the chorus? Could
right,
this be a
because
verse?
there's so many options. I look at it as like A, B, C, D.
Mhm.
I could do a breakdown here, or I could do like a, funky section here, or I could slow it down here. I could do a tempo change, and it's hard figuring out what best fits the song.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there is a right answer. I feel like there is something that sounds the best. Whenever I'm writing music, I don't feel like it's just whatever I think sounds good. I think there is a right answer to get the best sound.
The pieces fit somehow.
Right. It's more like I'm trying to get out of the music what I want, and to get what I want, there's a formula.
Definitely.
So it's just kind of figuring out with every riff and every song and every start of an idea that I have, really just honing in on it and getting the next part.
Fuck
you
yeah.
know?
What is it like for you figuring out where a song goes next? I mean, for me, I can kind of hear it. Like, I get a cool riff and I'm like, okay, what happens after this? I can kind of be like, okay, I think it should do something like this.
Yes. Yeah.
What about for you? Is it like that?
It is 100% like that, because I'll sit there and I'll make one like 10-second section, and I'll listen to it like 20 times, and then I'll just pause it, and then I'll immediately start hearing in my head what sounds the best after that. The hard part is sometimes not hearing what sounds the best after that. It's making my guitar make those sounds after that.
that is the hardest part.
That's normally the struggle. I'll be like, okay. It sounds fucking stupid, but that's what I'll do in my head, man. And then it's like, now how the fuck do I do that?
Yeah.
How do I make my fingers make these sounds?
Try and do it. It's like,
then it's like,
yeah, that's hard, man. I don't know. So for me, like, each song I do, I try to have a meaning with, and I think I struggle a lot with songwriting because my songs are never like A B A C A B A.
Your music's all over the place.
A B C D E F G H I J B. And that's just how it works for me. And I think I get lost sometimes in how much of the song needs to be devoted to expanding upon whatever I deemed the meaning of the song to be. I don't know. Maybe that's a good way to write songs. I genuinely don't know. I really suck at having a basic song structure. And I guess the real question behind that is, should every song have a certain meaning and message behind it? I don't know. I mean, I think for all musicians, each song, to a certain extent, has a meaning behind it.
I agree. Sometimes my struggle is I feel disingenuous when I'm trying to make meaning out of nothing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll write a whole song and then I'm like, what do I want to sing about? And then it's just like I have to bullshit my way through.
I have nothing to say.
Yeah. Sometimes it really feels like I just don't have shit to say, because I'm not an expert. I'm not a professional. You know what I mean? I don't have like expertise in that area. So a lot of times I feel like I'm just fumbling my way through getting an idea or a concept of what the lyrics should be like. What meaning I want to get across. And a lot of times, the hard part is I have a lot of the same ideas. Like when I write songs now, which I've written a lot of the lyrical content is based off of recent events. Like for me, my mom passed away in October, which was really hard. And I haven't been able to write a song without the first idea of what I want to sing about, what's in my fucking head, what I'm mad and sad about. being anything other than that situation.
Yeah.
And it's been like that for a year. And that's hard whenever, it's like, I know I can't just sing about that forever. You know what I mean? I can't just scream about that forever. But that's all I want to. So it's like I have to manufacture other ideas, and it, like I said, it's just hard. It feels disingenuous,
Man, I would say don't make yourself sing about anything else, dude. Just whatever's coming out of you. Just get it out. Just keep pushing it out. I don't know. Maybe that's bad advice. I
No,
don't know.
it's good advice. For me, it's just like I don't want to feel corny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want, to write 20 songs and all the songs be just about like my mom, for example, and then have nothing else to say. Even if that's all I have to say, I still feel bad for that, that being the only like subject matter. You know what I mean? I want my music to be diverse. I want there to be a diversity of ideas, but oftentimes, like I said, everything just falls back to my emotions. And like I said, if that's the biggest thing I can sing about right now, that's the thing on my head most of the time, then
shit, man. I mean, that's the
it's just a weird
that's
spot.
the purest source that a message or meaning can come from is your emotions, without having to think about it too hard. But I mean, shit, yeah. I mean, you got some good points. I don't know, man. That's tricky.
Well, I envy you for it because like your lyrical content is all over the place in a good way. There's so much covered, and lots of bands do that, and I envy those bands. It's just I feel like I'm a pretty one-track minded guy most of the time when it comes to my deepest, darkest thoughts. So I try to be more like you, and people like you. It's just like I said, it's hard to manufacture that whenever it's not genuine.
Yeah, and I've definitely been there before. God, I mean, you ever hear the thing that's like, for each, I don't know, out of every 10 songs you write, 2 of them are gonna be good. You ever hear that?
That I believe it.
It's fucking true, yeah. Yeah, and God, I've scrapped so many things because I've just not had anything to say and been like, rah, rah, the body. I'm like, well, I can't connect to the lyrics I'm putting out, or like maybe poetry I wrote like a year ago and I just can't connect with it anymore because I'm like, I don't even know what I was trying to say with it. It's definitely tricky, and I think that's definitely something to try and avoid, is to sing about something that you don't connect with.
Yeah.
Because I think to a certain extent the listener can tell if you're not 100% invested in what you're going in for. I think, I don't know, but at the same time, I can't pick any circumstances out where I think a singer is not invested in what they're singing. But I think those songs exist, and I think I listen to songs a lot where the singer isn't very invested in it. But I mean, shit, I can't tell. So maybe I'm just talking out of my ass there. I don't know.
I think there's there's a few emo bands that I'm not going to talk about in detail, but there's definitely a few emo bands that I've listened to their lyrical content, and it's just like random shit that I wouldn't even think of, and it's not even like, sometimes it doesn't have a point, and I like that. I like when I listen to a music that's a song that's fun and doesn't really seem to have like a serious point. It might to that individual, but to the listener, it's just like lighthearted, fun, catchy, whatever. And sometimes I wish I could do that. I just don't think I can. I think that's a special gift that few people have, to just nonchalantly say whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I respect it.
It's a gift, man. To say whatever and give it your all each time.
Regardless of whatever the fuck you're saying. You could be singing about fucking, I don't know, race cars or fucking
Dolly Parton.
You know what I mean? Yeah, fucking Dollywood. I don't fucking know.
There you go, yeah.
If you sang it with your whole heart and it was catchy, I'd love it. You know what I mean? I just wish that I had the ability to do that.
Where do you think songs come from? I mean, do you think there's a giant pool of influence that all of humanity draws from? Do you think it's a more personal thing?
I think that every human being alive has a creative side. It doesn't have to be musical. It doesn't have to be art. It could be a million different things.
Your creativity could be breathing. It could be going to work. That it could be driving.
No, yeah, 100%, 100%.
I'm not saying get creative while you're on the
interstate. It could be decorating your fucking room. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, some crazy big thing that, is like, has to have a deeper meaning. Like, I think everyone just has almost like, you go to bed and you haven't like killed all your energy and you just stay awake all night and you're like thinking or what the fuck ever, or you're just not tired. Like, I feel like everyone has, a part in their brain that has to be creative. I think human beings have to be creative to some regard. And I don't think that the system we live in really rewards that. If
God,
anything, it tries
doesn't.
to snuff it out.
Definitely.
So I feel like everyone is constantly in a war with trying to get their creative side out in whatever method that is.
While at war with having to
Having to survive.
really stress their functional side.
Right, exactly. Having fucking
Yeah.
money, you know what I mean?
gotta go to work. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. How you gonna write a killer song if it's like I'm feeling it, but I gotta go to work in an hour? It's like you'd be pretty hard pressed to knock out a song in an hour.
No, exactly. And I feel like people get depressed when they don't get that out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I feel like you can't keep that inside of you for years.
Yeah,
And eventually it's going to manifest in some way that is probably not great.
yeah,
you
it's
know?
an amalgamation of what it once was.
Right.
All these things combined, and maybe it's too big to even get out of you, and it just stays in there. I don't know, man.
And I know whenever I come home from a hard shift, like I don't want to fucking write, but I know I need to sit down and play my guitar for a few minutes, and I make myself do it some days just to get it out of me. And
It's good
sometimes
discipline.
I'll just sit there for an hour and get a little riff shit out and never look at it again. And I'm happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I've satisfied that part of my brain that needs that to happen. Even if nothing bigger comes out of it, I just needed to satisfy. Like an itch. It's like a fucking itch.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to scratch it. If you don't scratch it, that's when shit
It's
gets
gotta
hairy.
keep itching. Yeah.
Hell, you ever sit down for like an hour on your computer working on a song and you're just exhausted by the end of it?
Yeah.
Even if you're not screaming, just sitting there playing guitar, like your brain is just fucking like, all right, I can take a nap now.
Yeah.
Like that's
All
how I
the
feel. Like
time,
it
man.
takes so much energy to do, but it's a necessity. So and we normally don't have the energy to do it because of our daily lives, work, relationship problems, whatever the fuck's going on. Everything is
so much of our daily life is built around expending all of your resources.
Yeah,
all of your
100%.
mental internal resources. So much of your day-to-day life is
having
like,
nothing left.
you're meant to give all to your job, give it all to your boss, give it all to the customer. It's like, God, at the end of the day, when your mind and your heart still has this need to create, but your body can't, it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
I think, and I think your body, your mind and your body are more connected than any of us can probably ever fathom.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably no real way to realize the consequences of not scratching that creative itch that we all internally have, or at least I'd say most people internally have. But it builds up. I don't know how it manifests, but I know it manifests.
So it can manifest in hundreds of different ways. Very few of them good.
Yeah, very few good. Very few good. It gets to the point where all I want to do is fucking, drink or what the fuck ever to distract myself from the fact that I haven't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With everything packed on, and then, all the daily stresses of life, and then you throw on the fact that I haven't touched my guitar in a week.
Yeah.
And I love guitar, but like, God, now I don't even have the energy for that. And then we just do whatever we can to get through the day. And that's it. And that's life, and life's not supposed to be like that. We're not supposed to, humans aren't built to do what we're being forced to do. So,
yeah. I think I've just about exhausted all my topics for songwriting. Now, I mean, this wasn't the songwriting episode. I mean, I think we'll probably have segments in the future where we're going to get back into songwriting some, because honestly, that's an infinite pool that you can draw from, is just talking about songwriting. Do you have any points you'd like to add before we wrap this up?
No, I feel like it was a good cast. It was good talking. Had a blast listening to Aren't We Amphibians?
Me too.
Good to sit here and bitch about life sucking.
Yeah.
And wanting to write songs, but that not being feasible.
Yeah.
In this economy. But no, I think everything was good. I had a blast.
Me too, man. Thank you for coming out.
Always, bro.
All right, stay tuned till next time, everybody, and we'll see what's what. Wait, I think I did that last time. Hang on. Okay.
All right, try it, everyone. Bum. Ba bum. 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 Bum.